What up, what up, what up? Welcome to another episode of the No Cap
No cap.
Recap. Do do
Recap.
do do
Do,
do.
do, 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 do.
That's good.
That
I
was
like that.
good.
That that
We
felt
did good
good.
that
I like
time.
that. We did
Very
we did
natural.
good that
Okay.
time. Very so natural. You're such a natural. This is a podcast where two best friends go over some music, media, TV shows, movies, and we talk about stuff that we're
All
gonna talk
that.
about in the group chat, and it makes it here to the podcast show. I'm BZB,
We
and this
recapping
is
stuff. Nay.
we. Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, we recapping stuff exactly. How you feeling, Nate? How was your weekend?
Good weekend. It was a long weekend. We have Indigenous Peoples Day, which is
Yeah.
what we are celebrating today. How you gonna
Mm-hmm.
celebrate annihilating people? But anywho, I worked this weekend, and then I just been doing a lot of stuff around the house. Very,
Mm-hmm.
very boring weekend. But my birthday's coming up, so I am staying home to get things ready for my absence. I'll be traveling. I actually got 2 trips in 2 weeks, so
Oh my! I didn't even know about the second one.
yeah. Yes, there's a second one. My mom is turning 60, and we're doing a girls trip
On 6-0.
for
Okay, that's
her
what's up.
birthday. And so me and my mom are 10 days apart. So
Okay.
one celebration, bam, right back for another one.
Right back for another
so-
one.
Pretty slow weekend just in preparation for those things.
Yeah.
How about you?
No, that's cool. Man, my weekend was cool. Saturday we woke up and we were panicking a little bit. My whole family was panicking because the cleaners were coming and we did not declutter. And you know how that goes. You
'Cause-
got to clean before the cleaning people come.
Yeah,
You know.
because you don't want them to think y'all nasty.
Right. And it was just
Even though
and
ain't
so
nothing wrong.
right. It's a lived-in house. What you gonna do? You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So it's like 9 o'clock, and the cleaning people supposed to come at 10 o'clock. And let's see, Saturday's
Now
date
answer
was
this.
the 11th.
How detailed is the surface level cleaning for before the cleaning people get there?
It's more so just like making sure that they can clean. So if it's like stuff, if it's books everywhere, we don't want them spending time on that. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's
Right.
like papers, let's get that up. You know what I'm saying? And so it was 9 o'clock, and Saturday was the 11th. So my wife had reached out to the cleaning person, was like, "Hey, you gonna be here today, right?" It's like, well, no, I'm gonna be here November 11th, not October 11th. Mind you,
Oh.
it's like we had already spent three hours just kind of like get each room together and stuff like that. So
Dang.
we got tricked into kind of decluttering our house. However, our house is running a lot smoother though, a
I
lot
bet it
smoother because
is.
it's like
Look at that.
we don't have to step over nothing. Like it's not papers everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So that was definitely the highlight, and it was really nice because we had today off, we had Monday off. So that was actually very nice. So yeah,
Wow.
that was cool.
Maybe you could save that money moving forward.
Nah, we still haven't.
This time.
No.
Just this time. Yeah.
We still need them to clean, still clean, because that was
Yeah.
a whole thing within itself. We had like 10 or 11. Just you know how you just accumulate stuff. Like what is this
Yeah.
stuff? What is stuff? You know. So we had
Yeah.
10 or 11 trash bags to like black trash bags to just throw out, and
Just
so we got
stuff.
through all of that. Just stuff. What is it? What is it?
I had
You know? So.
had a decluttering session last weekend or maybe the weekend before, where I got rid of just old stuff that was up in my cabinets and in the
Yeah.
refrigerator, like seasonings and just old stuff. And it does feel a lot better, and you can see what you have when you do that. So that never hurts.
It's like, when am I going to use this Brazilian seasoning? Never. I'm not going to use it. Let me just throw it away.
I was not too many days old ago when I realized the seasonings go bad. Like, you can't have that black pepper up in there for years and think that you're getting something out of it. You're not.
My granny would like to disagree, and a couple aunties
I
too.
think everybody's granny would like to disagree, because I'm sure if I went in went in her cabinet, ain't no telling what you would find. Ooh, I remember we were moving her. We were moving her out of an apartment, one of her old apartments. Mm-hmm. The things that she had up in there was just like,
I could only imagine.
Why do you have 3 microwaves? Some gotta go.
Yeah.
Like this one, it was just clutter. So the longer you stay somewhere, the more you can just accumulate stuff.
Ugh, just stuff.
Jeez.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. They was like, what did they say? Does seasonings expire? It's like, technically yes, but blackically no, they don't expire.
Never. I know it's some gumbo filet at my mama's house right now. It was there when I was a teenager. I'm sure that's the same one.
Not the filet. I call it the fowl. That's so funny.
Gumbo fowl.
Gumbo fowl. Yeah, that's funny. Speaking of black people, today's episode is brought to you by today's episode we're going to be focusing on, not yet, we don't got sponsors yet, it's coming though. Today's episode we are focusing on Seen and Heard. Is that the name of it? Issa Rae's documentary. Yep, Issa Rae's documentary on
HBO Max. The focus of the doc is history of black TV. It is described as a journey through the history of black representation on television, showcasing how black artists shaped and revolutionized the medium.
Yeah. So
it is a two-part series on HBO Max. It's called Seen and Heard. There's a Seen episode and there is a Heard episode. Which did you get that the first time you watched it? Like, did you make that connection as to how? Yeah,
I didn't.
Right over my head too. The second time I went through, I was like, I get it now. So what we're going to spend our time recapping today is the first half of the series, the Scene portion. So we'll start with a question. Do you remember the first time you saw yourself in something on TV? And what was it?
Power Rangers.
Oh,
yeah,
Zach.
the Black Ranger.
Zach. Yep.
Zach Attack. Yeah, for sure.
Even
I always did feel like, no, definitely not the haircut. I wasn't really paying attention to that too much, though.
True.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to that because, we was just getting bald phase anyway, so we ain't know no better. Like, But I did also feel like Skeeter and Doug was black, even though it wasn't really a lot of color. It was,
Oh,
my cousin Skeeter, yes, but
Skeeter.
Yes,
okay,
yeah, Skeeter and which was short for like mosquito or something. I was like, what cuz got going on, man? What's going on?
Was he a bully? He was a bully, right?
No, he wasn't. That was the other. That was I forget his name, but he always wore a black leather jacket. Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
No, yes.
And Susie Carmichael. Rugrats.
Susie Carmichael. Yes.
Yeah.
Those were really early early memories that I have. I remember being excited about Susie. The big one for me was Nick at Night. Not Nick at Night. Snick. When all that, Kenan and Kel, all of those shows were coming on. That was like, this was made for me. Like, that's how I felt when I was watching it. Like, this is tailored to exactly what I want to see, the different artists and stuff like that. I think before that, most of the shows that I watched typically had like one black person. Like Barney had, I don't even know if they had a little black child. until later years.
Oh, I thought you was talking about BJ. I thought he was black for sure. His
BJ
hat was backwards.
For sure was somebody's little black cousin. Yes, and Baby Bob too, with them lashes. They definitely was black. But no, was not a ton of representation at that time. I feel like Snick was the first, like, when I realized, oh yeah, this is tailored to black folks.
Mm-hmm. And what's funny too, I was talking to my friend about that. I was like, "You remember when they had Nick with Kenan and Kel and all them?" She was like, "Yeah, I used to love Nickelodeon." I said, "Excuse me?" She was like, "You don't remember when they used to call it Nickelodeon?" I was like, "No, I don't remember that." I'm like, it makes sense. It definitely made sense.
That didn't make it to me, but it definitely. I saw somebody say something about that too. Even like programming for adults, I remember being very young and like the Arsenio Hall show was like cool TV watching. Right, like adult, like black version of TV, and that's a talk show, but like sitcom stuff, of course, Martin, Fresh Prince.
Oh yeah,
like
for sure.
In Living Color, which all of these things are part of the documentary that we are talking about here today.
Yeah, for sure.
It is definitely, I thought on a first watch, I've watched it twice since the first time we seen it. I was like, wow, this is done so well. Like, they definitely got the important people to be interviewed, some of which, who was all in it? Who you got?
Swiss Beats, obviously, which I thought was really random.
I didn't understand why he was in it. I didn't get the connection to Swiss Beats, but obviously Tyler Perry, Oprah, Stan Lathan, which you know that's Sanaa's daddy.
I didn't know that.
Yes, that's Sanaa's
I didn't
daddy.
know that. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
Debbie Allen, Norman Lear, Larry Wilmore, Issa Rae, obviously.
Michael Jamal
Warner. Yeah, R.I.P. Lena Waithe, Mara Brockakil, Tia and Tamira, and a whole bunch of other important pieces. Keenan Ivory Wayans. Although, when is the last time we seen Keenan Ivory?
Yeah,
he don't come outside.
Right. Nah, he don't. He don't.
Like, in a very long time, we haven't seen him. I hope everything's okay.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I agree.
Yeah, but Seeing Her starts out with Anthony Anderson and
Tracy Ellis Ross.
Tracy Ellis Ross, the mom and dad from Blackish. And we know that show was a hit sitcom that ran for years, but it is no longer on. And basically at the beginning of the documentary, they're showing them going on their finale run of doing like late night talk show stuff to, just kind of close the book. It was very cute that Anthony Anderson, people have thoughts about Anthony Anderson, but we just gonna keep it in line here. Brought Tracy Ellis Ross a book of a lookbook of over the years, the different scenes that they've done from the beginning. Yeah. And I love Blackish just as a show because I feel like the representation of black people that you get is not your stereotypical ideas, right? They very accomplished people, kids kind of quirky, living in a white neighborhood. It was just a really good show. Lots of great lessons. Still represented black in a way that was very familiar, I would say. And so again, the whole idea is black people being seen on TV. So episode 1 takes us through the history of when black people were not on TV, and then just the coming of age of when, just slowly but surely we began to see black people on TV. So what one of the most earliest scenes was Amos and Andy, or one of the most earliest shows or first time people saw black people on TV was Amos and Andy. Which, what do you remember about that?
So, I mean, the creation of these characters are essentially never from black people. I actually did a little research on Amos and Andy and the fact that they had been on TV from 1928 to 1960s, till 1960, and it was started by two white people. Go ahead. I'm sorry, it had been on the it been on the radio. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was about to say, what is TV in 1920? I'm like,
no.
Yeah, but it was like entertainment happened over the radio, which is weird enough.
Yeah.
Obviously, sign of the times, but yeah, Amos and Andy were two black characters that were played by white guys, and they like the stereotypical like lazy black characters, right? Or like silly or dumb. Some similar to like Buckwheat and some of those very, very early characters that we saw on TV. One of the first people that they... Go ahead.
I was going to say, really, like the next generation of a minstrel show, realistically. It's like a minstrel show evolved, you know?
Right. So one of the first main people that they show in the doc is Tyler Perry. What is your connection to Tyler Perry, if any at all?
So I heard about the plays and stuff when I was younger, but I had never really seen any plays. Like, I didn't grow up watching the plays. I really didn't get really hip to Tyler Perry. Yeah, I didn't really get really hip to Tyler Perry until like House of Pain, really, and that's when he was up out of here at that point.
What?
Yeah.
Man, I feel like people that were in the church, them DVDs and tapes, they were tapes, right? I think they were tapes, and then maybe some DVDs. They was just selling them out of the parking lot of churches.
Yeah, circulating. Yeah.
I don't even know how we got our first one, but it just was these plays
it just appeared.
on tape, and they were authentically black, specifically
for sure.
like churchy and black, and so it was not slapstick comedy at all, but it was like kind of if you know kind of stuff. Yep. So Tyler Perry plays were on the Chitlin circuit, which if we need a mini history lesson about Chitlin circuit, that was basically like the places where black people were allowed to perform, plays, musicians, all of that stuff. So people consider Tyler Perry as someone who followed that same kind of trajectory, where most of their work was like get it out the mud, like little small theaters here, mostly in the South and places like that. And obviously we know who Tyler Perry ended up turning into. The next main person that we see is Oprah, which...
Yeah, wait. But I want to pause there for Tyler Perry. Okay, so some black people would say that Tyler Perry's plays and stuff are like low level, kind of stereotypical, like, you know what I'm saying? And I thought it was, now that you said that, it's kind of interesting that they had Amos and Andy and Tyler Perry kind of like next to each other as far as in the space of the documentary. So what do you think he thinks about that? I've seen some interviews and stuff like that with people criticizing him.
Although, the connection to Amos and Andy, I understand why they placed it there. The difference is, like, these are black stories told by black people. And I think, obviously, black people are not a monolith, so there are lots of ways to see black people being represented, right? I think he tapped in, and they talked about this on the doc, like, he really tapped into his people. which were like church people mostly. And I think because there is a large sector of people that don't understand that, don't understand a character like Brown, I could see it coming off as just like some goofy stuff.
Yeah.
But some goofy stuff that seems like it's lowbrow or like it is
Yeah.
catering to like stupidity or something like that. But it just is the kind of laughter that you weren't afraid to watch with your kids. You weren't afraid to watch with grandma. Everybody could sit around and watch Tyler Perry plays. And even now, some of the shows that spent off from there, I think a lot of his audience is those same people, right? Like you don't really get. He seems like somebody that really, really honed in again on who liked his stuff and then gave them so much stuff that like even now when a new Tyler Perry show comes on Netflix or a new Tyler Perry movie comes out, they gonna go to it no matter what. So I don't blame him. I understand the other side of the coin, people that it's not for them, but I think I understand why it's for so many folks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I always wondered how black people of that time thought about like Amos and Andy, or like, like the maids, or like, people who were playing like kind of like stereotypical roles. And I'm glad that they said something about just like the black people of that, so much so that the NAACP petitioned to have it canceled and got it canceled after 2 years. So I always thought that was kind of interesting because, excuse me, the actors still got the short end of the stick. The people who made it ran from 1928 to 1960. And they were able to feed their families. They were able to do all of this stuff. Then they're like, well, we can't put on blackface in 1951 or whatever, so let's get 2 black actors. So these 2 black actors, when already is no jobs or whatever the case, and I'm not necessarily caping for them, but I just thought it was interesting that they basically worked for 2 years, and then it's like, oh yeah, well we canceled you because the NAACP said, we can't have this this image out or whatever. And so I don't know.
And
I don't know what to say about that.
Back to the Tyler Perry thing, like without Tyler Perry feeds so many people, right? He has his own movie studios and things that are unprecedented. And imagine if those hearsay and like the stuff that people, I'm not talking about his legal stuff. That's a whole nother thing. But if he allowed people to make him not move forward with what his vision was for Tyler Perry Studios and Tyler Perry and just entertainment in general. So that led us into Oprah. And so Oprah obviously major, it's weird to even call her a talk show host, I would say. Just entertainer overall and just the shit.
The blueprint for real.
The blueprint, right? Like she came in talking about when she was younger and when she was in school and how there were just no images of black women on television at that time. She mentioned
or black people
Julia,
at all. Only
people.
Oh yeah. Okay, right. Yeah,
especially
for sure.
not black women. Julia, who was played by Diane Carroll, was one of the first women, black women, to be seen on TV. She even said that there was a newscaster that was a white woman just with a big nose that she was able to identify with just solely because she didn't look like your stereotypical, like, classic white lady on TV.
White woman, yeah.
Right. That was wild. She said it was hard for her to feel seen in like the buckwheat kind of characters, right? That didn't necessarily depict her at all.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that she said very early on in her career, she would get in trouble because as she was reporting on black things and like just black situations, she would always kind of sympathize with the, I ain't even gonna say criminal, but like whoever's being spoken about.
Yeah, for sure.
And she would get in trouble, and it led to her actually being dismissed from being on traditional news in that way, and then she got kicked out or pushed into doing a talk show, which because it was a brand new thing at that time, like there was very few. It's not like what it eventually became after her. She was one of very few people that had their own hour designated time for a talk show. And she said one of the things that obviously, like, we're not gonna go through who Oprah became, right? But she said one of the things that was most important was when women would tell her that, like, watching you be yourself every day makes me want to be myself. And I think considering that she really didn't have any blueprint or any one's direction to follow, for her to have blown up and become what she has become, again, controversial sometimes. You can't take away what she did, how she revolutionized TV, and just being a talk show host.
For sure.
Did you watch Oprah?
No.
Never.
I don't know why you be wanting me to watch this different stuff.
Know.
Like, no.
I want you to watch Baddies, Oprah.
Oh, Lord, Baddies again.
No, I just
make it into the conversation.
Every single episode. I remember the last episode of Oprah when they did, like, I think it was at the United Center. She, like, recorded at the United Center, and that was a thing. I almost was able to be there, but I missed out on the
that would have been legendary.
They was passing out tickets to CPS. Yeah. So one of the more popular folks that was discussed in here was Norman Lear.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually, I'm gonna let you handle this Norman Lear part, because tell the people who Norman is.
So Norman Lear is a producer who came up with Good Times. What was it? What else was it? George Jefferson and Wheezy them.
The Sanford and
the Jeffersons, Sanford. But
yeah.
before that, he did All in the Family. That was his first show out. His first show was a Western in the 60s, but his his show sitcom was All in the Family. So that was first. So he is a white man who came up with these different concepts for shows and definitely put black people in the forefront for sure. Because I think Good Times came first, or Sanford and Son came first, then Good Times. And I do remember reading something about the NAACP, like, can we get some people that, like, are not struggling all the time?
Right.
And then he came up with the Jeffersons. It's like, okay, hey, he's an entrepreneur. He got his own business. He moving on up. George and Wheezy, you know? And so there was a part in the documentary where they were talking, and it was actually like a picture of the writer's room versus like the actors, and the actors were on one side, which is all black, and the writers were like all white, and it was like divided. And I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. And Marla Gibbs actually said one time, was like, I don't think a black person would say this. And they were like, well, I mean, in her head, I like this job. I like to get paid. So I'm going to say whatever they say. Whatever they wrote down, I'm going to go ahead and say. And so that was a big part of contention, because the writers, he said that, we tried to make it kind of like as realistic as possible, and if they had a problem with it, then we had great writers, we'll change it, but if I still feel a way about it, then we're just going to do it. Like, no matter what you say as the black person, I think that you should say this, so I thought that was pretty interesting. I think it's just kind of a sign of the times too.
Yeah, those shows at that time, looking back on them now, there is like a cringe factor. of like a show like Good Times where
Mm-hmm.
you got like the damn moment, or
Mm-hmm.
when Michael was gang banging or whatever. Like some of the
Right.
storylines was just like, this is very small, right? Like this is a very small way
Yeah.
to look at, like when you I mean those actors were not who they who we know them as now, right? Like John Amos. I don't that was before Roots. But I believe he had a long career
Mm.
in like plays and Broadway and stuff like that also as a
Oh,
result
I didn't
of
know that.
his acting. I know Esther Roll did also. Like she was more of a play
Oh.
um actress. And I believe she was a singer also. Yeah, she was a singer.
Oh wow, I didn't know that either.
Um, and we know them for mostly Good Times. Like I mean,
Right.
John Amos was up in Players Club, but outside of that, he pretty much was in Roots, and he was in Good Times. Esther
Right.
Rowe, similar. JJ will always be JJ. Michael, like I don't think we saw. Obviously, we saw Janet Jackson become who she was, but she was a small part of
Mm-hmm.
what was happening on Good Times. How
Mm-hmm.
many seasons was Good Times? Because I,
Too
I think
many.
I remember being surprised that it wasn't a lot. It
Oh
wasn't
really?
a lot. Yeah.
Well, you know
Oh,
the
they had
struggle feels
133
heavier.
episodes. Because it was a struggle every episode, okay?
You
There
know.
was not ever just a smooth episode. There were 6 seasons overall. And we
Six
know towards the
seasons.
end,
Wow.
some of the characters left and things happened, but like
John
John
Amos
Amos
specifically.
specifically
Right.
left Good Times because he did not like JJ. It seemed like he didn't like the character that JJ
He
was
didn't
like
like the
as the
character.
clown. And again, kind of tying back to the
Mm-hmm.
minstrel show where there always
Yeah.
has to be this comic relief or like this goofball.
Yeah.
So he was against that and he left the show because of it. But Norman Lear, and he passed. He was over 100 when he passed. He passed like maybe 2 years
Oh
ago.
wow. Oh
Yeah.
wow.
He is kind of known as like in a conflicting way where he was the first person to put black people on TV in that capacity and like showing them
Mm-hmm.
in somewhat of a different light through the Jeffersons. But also there's a lot of criticism around how he chose to write certain characters, like Sanford and Son. And then what was the one you mentioned, or something happened with his actors? We were talking
All in the
about it
family.
before. No, it was something I forget.
Oh well, I think something that'll tie this all together was the quote that they put on the screen. Said the door is open just a little bit for black writers, and they're impatient as hell, and they have every right to be, but they don't understand our problems, which is we need it yesterday, and none of those guys have had enough experience to be able to write that quickly, and so on. But guess what? If they didn't have the experience, who was a great person to put them in position? It was you, my guy.
Right.
It was you.
And how do they? That's the same argument as like entry level jobs. Like when the only jobs you can get are entry level. How else do you get the experience that's needed to move up the chain? Like
Right, exactly. That's like when they had voting and they said they put the grandfather rule. So if your grandfather voted, then you could vote. It's like, yeah, but so my grandfather was a sharecropper. He
exactly, you
couldn't
can't get a
vote. It's
chance.
like, oh, well, you can't vote then. What what are you talking? What's going on here?
Right.
Yeah.
Something else that kind of happened before the Norman Lear years. Have you seen those? They talked about it in the show, but like it's these conversations. It reminds me of something on Zeus, but I won't go there. Where they would have just conversations between two people, One of the more famous ones is Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin.
Oh,
Did you
okay,
see?
yeah.
Yeah. So like there was a black TV network created where they only showed stuff like that.
Mm.
And Stan Lathan, again, that was Sanaa's daddy. He was instrumental in that because he was one of the people that, like when the Amos and
Oh
Andy
yeah.
stuff was going on, he was one of the people on the front lines to try to get it canceled for being offensive, like in the way they represented black people. So this black show and black like network, or I don't know if it was just like a spot at the end of the night, had these like very very interesting conversations between who we know now as like pillars of black history, and I it just makes me think of like how nothing like that really exists now. Well, on like regular TV you can find
Yeah.
some of that kind of stuff like on YouTube, like Jubilee and some of those, I guess like I feel like they're like therapeutic based TV channels or like the 20 verse one, not Pop the Balloon type stuff, but where people can just have conversations about topics. Like I love the idea of being able to just like not see people be entertainers, but just talk. Maybe that's why I'm so into podcasting and just hearing things in that way.
Yeah.
Another very, very important person that came on the scene through black television was Debbie Allen.
Debbie Allen.
Debbie Allen. Debbie Allen. Remember when Gina said that?
I don't remember that.
Oh no. Whatever. So Debbie Allen, Felicia Rashad's sister, was a college student, I believe, in the 70s or the 80s.
Yeah, I don't know. I know she went to Howard. I don't know when she
went to Howard. She went to Howard. I believe it was in the early 80s. And she was someone who, I mean, I imagine because her sister was on the Cosby Show, like, obviously she watched the Cosby Show, but she was able to connect with Bill Cosby and become one of the producers on A Different World, which that also is one of the early memories that I have of TV where I was like, wow, this is like a black show. Like this is something that every single character, like I know somebody like that, or I know, you know, like it just felt very authentically black. But Debbie Allen said that as a child, like she was a dancer. We know her for all of her dancing, critical acclaim. But she was looking at people like Shirley Temple, which I remember my granny trying to get me to like watch Shirley Temple because that was like in her life, that was like Beyonce kind of like she was that girl, and she would try to get me to watch. I'm like, this is so boring. But Debbie Allen was like, when she saw Shirley Temple, she knew she could dance and do everything better than her. She wanted to replace
way better than her.
She said,
exactly.
I wanted to replace that heifer.
That heifer. She did say that.
I like her. I think she got a fun house.
Yeah.
But other people that she mentioned were Diane Carroll, Nichelle Nichols, who also is somebody that passed away recently. Nichelle Nichols was the black lady on Star Trek, like way back in the day. Again, remember there was typically only one black woman character or one black character in general. Sometimes it was a woman. And so this was during the time, like you call it like post-King assassination time. So there was a need for some kind of collective gathering around blackness, and Different World became that. What are some of your Different World memories or favorite episodes?
Put me on the spot here, but I mean,
don't make me take your black card.
My black card is forever solidified. I just want to put that out there, okay? Now
Good
my wife
on
is something
every
different.
MLK. Right.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Now my wife is a different story. However,
Oh no, don't do
um,
it.
different world. I definitely remember Dwayne Wayne's glasses. I remember the episode when they had crisscross and they was about to fight and they was getting into it and stuff. I always loved that. Yeah, I could just remember like walking in on my mom. She was watching it. She was watching it like pretty much like all the time. You know. Um,
It
so
was a
yeah,
good show
different
because it
world.
showed
Yeah.
college culture. It showed college culture, but also HBCU culture, and like there were actual representation of the Divine Nine. You got to see what college looked like for like people that look like us. So they talked about one episode, specifically the AIDS episode, which remember back in the day when shows would have like their serious episode
Yeah, for sure.
where they like slowed the music down and like there was
You said,
this
"Oh, this ain't as fun." Yeah.
right, or it would have to have a disclaimer at the beginning saying like
Yeah.
we gonna talk about some stuff this episode. I hope y'all ready, or cover your kids'
Right.
eyes. But one of the
Right.
ones that Debbie Allen said she was constantly getting in trouble for what she wanted to put out there. But the AIDS episode with not Sheena Arnold. What's Gina's name? Gina.
Martin,
Tisha
Tisha
Campbell. Tisha Campbell.
Campbell, not Martin.
As yeah, in a lot of ways. Campbell, not
Right.
Martin.
Right.
She was a college student that happened to have AIDS, and that was during the beginning of the AIDS epidemic, and so like it was a very taboo issue that people weren't really talking about, especially in the way that they did, where it was a woman that had it and she spoke about how she got it. I miss that kind of TV. I really do.
Yeah.
But Debbie Allen said, it wasn't very easy for her to be able to get some of those things approved to be able to go out. But obviously, that was something that we needed at that time. Then,
and also, I would like to say that because she said, I had gone to Howard University. I was a graduate of Hillman. And it's really amazing to me that sometimes our superpower is just being authentic, our authentic self, because she brought so much to the table just by her going to Howard. So it's like if you were to have a movie or a show about a teacher, you know what I'm saying? Somebody who did this every single day for 5 years, 10 years, 30 years. That's who you would want on your staff for like consultation. Like, is this how a teacher would do this or whatever the case? So yeah, that was really, really cool.
Yeah. Some of the next things they get into is In Living Color, which a couple of years ago I discovered that you could watch 4 episodes of In Living Color, and I think I went on like a binge of just watching them.
Fire Marshal Bill. Fire Marshal Bill.
With the eyes and the ears that I have now, because also is kind of at I was young, and there were a lot of things that I was sneaking and watching, or I was like sitting around the corner while family was having fun. I'm like, I want to hear what they're laughing at. And Living Color was one of those shows for me.
Yeah, for sure.
So obviously in Living Color, main writer was Keenen Ivory Wayans. And of the Wayans family, it was a sketch comedy show, and it rivaled SNL. Actually, during that time, they actually I'm weird. A couple of years ago, also, I went and started watching old episodes of SNL. I just
was it funny at all?
SNL or whatever. The old ones are really, really difficult to get through, and on Peacock, a lot of times they did not keep the monologue in there of whoever the special guest was. They just only had the skit. So I'm like, maybe if they did have those, that would help. But, it's dated, right? And at this period of time, they were going through some of their down years. Actually, Damon Wayans was a cast member on SNL and he got kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
because
one
he
of the
wasn't
only people to
doing
get
his
kicked
lines or
off.
something like that. Yeah, he was like
Yeah,
protesting.
yes. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he would just go rogue kind of on the
Mm-hmm.
script. So he ended up getting put off there, and I don't know if that's the reason why, or that's the birth of In Living Color, but it surely helped because just as a family, they put together this sketch comedy show that was very hip hop based. It
Mm-hmm.
was they challenged a lot of stereotypes. Like I remember, and I believe they put it on the show, the Farrakhan skits
Mm-hmm.
that they would have, and just
Mm-hmm.
that was very very like crossing the
Mm-hmm.
line for that time. And so the show grew, became huge. It was on Fox, and the big Super Bowl fiasco happened. You remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So they start they so In Living Color debuted April of 1990. So the next year, 1991 and 1992, they took basically all of the audience that was watching the Super Bowl and had them premiere their new episode, and it was like super cracking. And then Fox or whoever the Super Bowl was hosted at that time in 1993 got Michael Jackson. It's like, you're not stealing any more of our fans anymore. Like, we need to do something different, because before then they would just have college bands like dueling or
Mm-hmm.
something. It's like, okay, let's go fix sandwiches or something during the Super Bowl. So literally the halftime show was made because of In Living Color. And that's how much influence black people have. We have way, way, way more influence than we think we do. And people will say all day long, "Oh yes, that's just a silly sketch show that SNL is way better." Yeah, okay, sure,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you say.
Until it started to impact um,
Yeah, for
numbers
sure.
and
Yeah,
ratings and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool. Like, what an idea! And imagine if they would have been allowed to maintain that, like what In Living Color would have
yeah,
grew into. It already was like huge, but I wonder if
yeah,
it was black huge or was it everybody huge. But nonetheless, when
yeah.
they went and secured Michael, that changed it because obviously everybody is going to stick around to a halftime show with Michael
Man,
Jackson.
what? Michael
I
Jackson in
mean, and they
1993? Are you serious?
right, that is like people passing out Michael Jackson
No,
era.
seriously, passing out. Yeah.
And it just crushed In Living Color. I believe that is also another show that my concept of time of things that were a long time ago was kind of weird because I'm like, that show was on for like 10 years. Girl, no, it was on for like 4. But I think towards
Yeah,
the
it
end,
wasn't
it
on that
got
long.
really, it, some of the most important people were no longer a part of the show, or things had just kind of changed with who was leading a lot of the sketches. Um,
Mm,
and
I can see
we
that.
got Jim Carrey out of that,
Yeah.
who is, I ain't gonna say invited to the cookout, but he definitely can come kick it. He can come kick it for sure.
Okay.
But huge hip hop moment, which then the next big thing was Martin, right? Martin came onto the
Yeah.
scene. I don't remember exactly who. Oh, big huge part that we're missing here. I think actually that led into Martin was the Cosby Show. Cosby Show, right? That was a huge TV show during that time. That was like
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
crossover
Cosby Show,
show
yeah. Mm-hmm.
that everybody was watching. And in
Yeah.
a lot of ways, people did not feel like the Cosby Show was a true representation of blackness, which
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why. Very accomplished family. Their kids were having regular old issues. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
anything that there, contrary to like a Good Times or something like that. Like there
Mm-hmm.
really was not major conflict in any episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was just very regular black people being black people, and so we
Which is
got to
kind of
see Malcolm.
nice.
Very nice, right? We got to see Malcolm Jamal Warner talk about when he was auditioning to be Theo. Remember that?
Theo, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said he was auditioning, and in his mind, he was killing it.
Killing
and
it.
Bill Cosby was like, "Would you talk to your father that way?" And
Right.
I just pictured that as he was talking about it, like, you know, like as a child actor, I imagine he was like over the top with everything and exaggerating things like that, and that's just not. It looks and feels like acting, right? Like there's something that is specific to the black experience where like respect, right? So he probably was trying to be a comedian, right? But it's like we need some realism from this. They went into the Eddie Murphy versus Cosby thing. Did you know anything about that?
No. I mean, not until later. I feel like how Cosby was like, you know, they need to pull up their pants and stop using all that profanity. I didn't know that it started with like Eddie Murphy though.
Yeah, they was beefing.
So he been bashing the youth for a minute.
Yeah, he had a problem with how much cussing Eddie Murphy was doing in his stand up and things like that.
Yeah, I would like to pause here because what do you think about respectability politics back then? Do you feel like more black people was with that? You know, because it's like, well, maybe if we act right, then maybe they'll treat us right. You know,
I do think that back then that was more of like what black
the
people were
general
encouraged
consensus.
to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like you sit here, you act like you got some sense. Don't bring too much attention to yourself and pull your pants up, you know? Like I think Bill Cosby always, even when you look back at like some of his earliest work, like it never was raunchy. It never was it fit right in line with what a lot of the other white comedians were doing in that time. So I could imagine that he, being as huge of a star as he was, felt like he had the formula, right? And then looking at somebody like a Eddie Murphy come in and he talking crazy, he got on a whole leather outfit, like, you know, that was just new for someone like a Bill Cosby, and he just didn't really roll with it. But like, I also think it's something to him attacking Eddie Murphy because he was young, right? There were other black comedians that probably were worse than Eddie Murphy, but it's almost like he thought he could punk Eddie Murphy because
and I don't know why he would think that, because he was huge. Eddie Murphy was huge at that point.
Exactly. Yes.
You talking about Delirious and Raw? That's like the biggest. What are you talking? I wonder, did he ever say anything about like Richard Pryor? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. What was all?
Or Paul Mooney? You know? Yeah. Anyway,
maybe they knew. Maybe he didn't go for those guys because they knew about some of his skeletons.
Oh yeah, right. They was at the same parties.
They was at the Diddy parties. So out of like as a response to the Cosby Show and just how straight and narrow that show was, we got a lot of stuff that was on the contrast of that, where you had more comedians or talent driven shows like Martin, Fresh Prince, Jamie Foxx, all. Martin was a comedian, obviously. Jamie Foxx just an all around entertainer. Fresh Prince, he was a rapper. The Wayans brothers, like all of these shows start popping up following the Cosby Show going off, and I think that was also a great time for black television. You had like your black TV nights, right, where you could watch Martin, Living Single. I know I was big on Showtime at the Apollo. Like that was like, if I could just watch those back to back, I'm like, ooh, like that is just a time, right?
Yeah.
Those shows were also on Fox, which we know Fox ended up doing a lot of these TV shows dirty when I don't know if they sold to someone else or they just decided that they were done with them.
Well, they got the rights for the NFL.
That's what it was. Yep, they got the rights for the NFL, and it's like, yeah, we had y'all little black shows over here. That was cool, but obviously,
right.
who's not going to choose NFL over that? But they also use the audience. They built their audience on a lot of these black TV shows. And then when it came down to the money, they went for the money. And it left a lot of people unemployed. It left a lot of people, not knowing what to do. So what do black people do? Well, we always do. Find a way, right? So
exactly, adapt.
You then get the birth of Mara Brockakeel, who was a writer. That's our girl, right? That's our girl. She was a writer and a producer of shows like Moesha, Girlfriends. Yeah. And she kind of introduced us into the genre of the dramedy, which is like a drama / comedy. She was like Moesha. During COVID, I went back and watched Moesha, and it was, again, one of those early times where I was able to see myself through like a TV show, right? So like you think about being a young girl and looking up to Brandy just for music and for acting, and seeing her go through teenage trials on her TV show. That was huge. You had Sister, shows like that. Girlfriends came a little bit later, but still, those were representations of women that there was conflict, but there also was like sisterhood, and there was so much. Those shows are so rich, and like they dominated for a while until things start happening like they always happen, right? So like they build up these huge audiences for these shows, and then we're gonna move you guys from Thursday night to Wednesday night. And then obviously with changes like that, you lose audiences, right? What do you replace that show with? So in this case, Girlfriends was replaced with Gossip Girl, which I can stand flat-footed and say I never ever watched an episode of Gossip Girl, right? Like I didn't even know what that was. I remember there being like commercials and stuff about it, but I never watched it. I've never watched an episode of Friends. I've never watched Seinfeld or Frasier or any of those like main staples. Now, Sex and the City. Yeah. If there was one that I would watch, it probably would be that one. But and I hear great things about it. It's not like a white show versus black show thing, but when opportunity is taken away from so many of these shows that had great writing, had like majority of black writers, and I think she said one time she could look around on the set of Moesha and you could see Boyz II Men, you could see Kobe Bryant,
Aaliyah in the audience,
all of these, like you could see all of these black stars wanting to be a part of the show, and then it just stopped, right? Or what they did was they would sell these shows to new networks, like the WB, which as a child, it worked on me. The WB worked on me because I was like, they got a cool little frog. They got a cool little song, but really it was like a fledgling. I looked that up too, a fledgling network. So Sister was doing so well. Then they went and threw them on the WB. took a lot of audience over there, but they really centralized blackness over there and put them on like a smaller network, right? Where if they
Yeah.
could have maintained where they were, who knows what could have happened.
Yeah.
And so the WB, Fox, some of those shows, some of those networks had In Living Color, South Central, Rock. Then we had UPN, which was another one where
UPN,
they
right.
was remember
Exactly.
Homeboys in Outer Space.
Yeah. With Flex.
The one with Flex, yeah, like all of those shows, but didn't last very long, and the tides began to change into the Gossip Girl, Dawson's Creek, the CW, and we kind of did not get our just due with a lot of those shows. The big one is Girlfriends, right? So Girlfriends was just it just stopped. They just stopped recording. They didn't get a closure episode. They didn't get a finale, a season finale, or a series finale. Still to this day haven't gotten one. And so Mara Brock Akil, who did so much for television, didn't get to close the book on one of her best, most major shows. And I think that is the getting back to the idea that being seen is one thing. Yeah, we accept being seen. Yeah, we want to be seen, but it's also a matter of how we're being seen in our characters, but also how we're being seen through like the behind the scenes producing, executive producing, and all of the other things that go into creating a show. Like we want to not have to celebrate a Norma Lear for doing it for us. We want to be able to do it for ourselves.
Yeah.
And so episode 1 kind of ends off where, like, kind of after those years of the WB and all of that stuff. And episode 2, I've watched ahead, but we are going to pause here and come back to talking about the herd portion, because it gets more into the messaging that is being shared outside of just giving an opportunity to be seen on TV. Like, what are we saying? What are we doing while on TV? That's episode 2. So what was your what period of TV would you say is your favorite of everything we talked about today?
Of everything that we talked about, I would say 95 to 2005. If I had to give a decade.
That is a long time.
I would say, I mean,
like 5 years?
5 years, I would say the whole 90s. Still a long time.
Yeah.
But I need 10 years. Sorry. Sue me. So what?
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure, that's we only are so old, but that is when it was cracking. I can't say that in the 2000s. I mean, TV changed. You went a lot into like reality TV and things like that. But as far as like sitcoms, that's when it was cracking.
Yeah. Because then I even think about like the Steve Harvey Show, D.L. Hughley Show, Bernie Mac Show.
Yeah, good times.
All of those shows. Good times, yeah. Also, one other thing I wanted to say when we talk about Ken Ivory Wayans is that it's the fact that he was 32 years old when In Living Color debuted, and he was the man that basically was the brainchild behind that whole thing. I'm like, wow, to do all of that at 32 is like, that's like insane. Yeah. And that my last point, I talked about it in our previous episode, but that is the importance of physical media, guys. We have to have our own physical media, because especially us as black people, like Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air, and that's a white man that's been on the air for ever, essentially. So you can only imagine what they would do to black people in our black shows that we hold so near and dear to our heart.
I mean, it's already very difficult to access a lot of those old
For sure.
shows. You know, like
Yeah.
where can you find an episode of Rock?
You can't. You just you
can't.
absolutely
You
cannot.
can't. You just had to be there. Like, you don't really get to go back to a lot of that stuff, and I believe it's by design. But I do think that in episode 2, we get into some of the more modern ways that we are being represented in television, whether it be behind the camera or in front of the camera. So I really, really like this series. And I hope that it expands to other worlds. Like, I could see there being something with music. I could see there being something with comedy, like different sectors of entertainment. I think Issa is on to something.
That'd be real dope.
To let it ride. Yeah.
Like that'd be real dope. So, yeah.
Y'all go watch episode 1 of Scene. Go watch the whole thing so that when we record the Heard episode, y'all can know what we talking about. I also don't like that it is so difficult to find this documentary. I feel like it was buried under a lot of things.
Yeah, it wasn't on the front page, so they
it wasn't
continuing
on the
to do. Yeah, it definitely wasn't on the banner. Yeah. I was just last fun fact, because I watched an interview with Issa Rae recently that she did probably about 10 days ago or something, and she said that the interviewer was like, so when were you for like financially, stable? And she was like, not until like the first season of Insecure. But like all before that, she said it was so rocky. I cashed in so many favors with so many actors. But it's also, to any creators that's listening, it's so important to have a proof of concept though, like, because HBO came to her or, whatever the case, and they were like, okay, cool, so what you working on? Had she not had Awkward Black Girl and just had an idea, it's like, that's not really even a thing anymore, to just have an idea. Even Z-Way, who had her own show on Showtime, it started from her having Instagram lives. I think her show got canceled, whatever the case, but, you have to have some type of proof of concept, even if it's not the prettiest thing. It's like, okay, but do you have something though? So yeah, that's the last thing I'm gonna say though. But
yeah, I can't see you again. Oh, there you go.
Oh no.
Hey y'all. All right. Well, that was Scene here with No Cap Recap. Thank you for obliging us. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. And we'll see y'all here next time. Okay?
Next time.
Just call me Sister Soldier, because I will find something black to talk about.
You need a ponytail. You need a side ponytail. You need to
be seen.
All right. And heard. All right, we'll see y'all in the next episode.
Seen and heard. Bye.